You're the Goblin King.
David Bowie and friends hard at work at 2 a.m. in the Atlantic Studios, New York City. They're laying down a new Bowie composition, Underground, the title track for the latest Jim Henson, George Lucas film adventure, Labyrinth.
Goblin City?
Turn back, Sarah. Turn back before it's too late.
I can't. Don't you understand that I can't?
What a pity.
It doesn't look that far.
It's further than you think. Time is short. You have 13 hours in which to solve the labyrinth before your baby brother becomes one of us forever. Such a pity.
The labyrinth.
But to begin at the beginning, it was here at Elstree Studios, England, that a journey through the labyrinth had begun some months earlier for director Jim Henson.
When we first started to write this film, we had this evil Goblin King. And then somewhere quite early on, we said, what if he were a rock singer, a contemporary figure? And then we said, who? And we said, Michael Jackson, Sting, David Bowie. See, I mean, there are only a few people that you would think of. And David was immediately the one we wanted.
He first brought me the concept on the 1983 tour that I did in America. And asked me if I'd consider doing the part. And he showed me Brian Froud's artwork, and he showed me a copy of The Dark Crystal, which I found a fascinating piece of work. And I could see the potentiality of making that kind of movie with humans, with songs, with a more of a lighter comedy script.
And I said, you know, if you like the script on something like this, would you consider being Jareth and singing and writing the songs for him and so forth? And David liked the whole thing from the beginning. What's the word on David? He's not going to be... Every age group really has a whole thing about David. And he himself is a very normal, well-grounded, straightforward person that is absolutely professional. And if he says hoodoo, and
You do.
It's sometimes better just to make the jump look not like jump, as opposed to, you know what I mean, G'd up, so you can place it. You can place it.
we brought in Charles Augins to choreograph a couple of the numbers, and he worked with David on Dance Magic.
Get there.
What we wanted was that very vibrant, dynamic, sort of black movement. It's what Charles does all the time.
Jump the magic. You know what I mean? Then they can start to think.
Right, just like that.
And then, yeah, then it'll get, you know what I mean? And then when you won't have that phone. Okay.
I mean, longer hands.
And action!
1, 2, 3, 4.
Jareth is the Goblin King. One feels that he's rather reluctantly inherited the position of being Goblin King, as though he really would like to be, I don't know, down in Soho or something. But he's not. His thing in life is to be Goblin King. And he runs the whole place as well as he can. And he's kind of spoiled. He gets everything his own way. He's a big kid. What has happened is that the goblins, without his command, have just gone off and taken another baby brother from another girl And he's got to sort out the whole situation.
You remind me of a babe.
What babe?
Babe with the power.
What power?
Power of voodoo.
Who do?
You do.
Do what?
Remind me of the babe.
Oh!
Goblin babe. Well.
Jim gave me a complete free hand. He allowed me to say what I wanted and write the things that I wanted. Dance Magic gave me a bit of a problem. It's a song for the Goblin King and the baby.
I saw my baby crying hard as babe could cry. What could I do? My baby's love had gone and left my baby blue. Nobody knew what kind of magic spell to use.
Slime and snail.
Oh, puppy dog tails.
And baby said, in the recording studio, the baby I picked, one of the backing singers, Diva, had this cute little baby who couldn't put two gurgles together. And it wouldn't work for me. I mean, it wouldn't go. I kicked it. I did everything to make it scream, but it wouldn't. It really buttoned its lips. So I ended up doing the gurgles. So I'm the baby on that track as well. I thought, what the hell? I've done Laughing Gnome. I might as well go all the way. We're back. I never thought in 20 years I'd come back to working with gnomes.
Jareth's Chambers was a very, very big puppet scene. There were 48 puppets on that set and 50, probably 52, 53 puppeteers working at one time. It's one room packed with puppets. It was quite a feat, actually, getting that scene done. It was great fun, but real crazy, real crazy. We had so many people in it. When you get all the puppets out of that set, it just looks like Swiss cheese. There's no set left. There's holes everywhere. People were walking around saying, any minute this set's gonna fall down. In the planning, it was always supposed to be 20 characters in that scene, 20 puppets. Went on and looked at it and realized it needs a lot more than that. We had to run auditions the week before. We had to find an additional 20 people, I think, to how many people we already had worked with. To add to all the mayhem, we had 8 to 12 little people in costumes running around. And then at one point in the song, we actually put them all on flying rigs, on wire harnesses, and had them jumping up 8 feet in the air. It was just a crazy scene. Nobody was really told anything in particular to do, especially when the song wasn't going on. They were just told to be goblins.
Dance, magic, dance, magic, dance, magic, dance, magic, dance. Baby, spell on me. Jump, magic, jump. Jump, magic, jump. Magic, jump. Jump, magic, jump. That magic jump on me. Slap that baby. Make it free. Dance, magic, dance. Dance, magic, dance. Magic, dance, magic, dance. Magic, dance. Dance, magic, dance. Jump, magic, jump. Jump, magic, jump. Magic, jump, magic, jump.
Okay, and cut it. Good. Good. Nice.
I was in the very early stages. Jim and I discussed what the film might be about. And we decided it would be about goblins. From there, I started to create pictures and drawings and setting a feel and a mood for the film. And I filled sketchbook upon sketchbook, just doodling in corners and creating these creatures.
I sat at my desk with Brian's drawings stacked on one side of the desk and writing away sort of to see what would happen. And every time I came to a new scene and I needed something to happen, I looked through Brian's drawings and found a character who was kind of speaking to me already. And suddenly there was the scene. It was wonderful. It was a strange way of collaborating, because although Brian and I never sat down and worked together, it felt that that's what we were doing the whole time.
I never like to create fully finished designs because I feel that pins you down too much. We have a workshop in which we use many different talents to develop these creatures that involve a lot of technical processes. And I like the characters to emerge slowly. I feel that my role is to nurture that, to bring out the different qualities that are happening. Maybe just latch on to the happy accidents and push those a bit further.
Working with Brian, it becomes more of a creative dialogue than sort of being given a design and said, make this. We have the incredible freedom of range, of creative expression to pursue something ourselves, and Brian incorporates it with his designs, comes back to us, something else is done to it, it goes back to him, and so it becomes quite literally a dialogue of creative intensity. There's no firm directive. The whole thing sort of evolves in a wonderful, provocative, and very satisfying kind of way.
Well, these are an organic stuff called lichen or lichen, which in real fact is very, very small. But Brian, the conceptual artist, wanted eyeballs on the end of each one of these little things. And they have to follow Sarah. Sarah's the little girl in the story that, as she walks by. So I had to invent a cabling system that would control all the eyeballs and slightly separately too, so that I've got 5 separate circuits to control about 30 eyeballs. So they start off in one place, and then as they're shifted, they all move over to follow Sarah in a different direction. Can you see that, Ron? Can you see that?
No, her face is right about here. So he wants to be able to look from her to him. Say something, Worm. Uh-huh. Does the big worm have a mouth that red? Uh-huh. Okay, yeah, that's probably pretty good then.
That one has just come on. There. Behind you.
You got a chip down on the other one.
Fair is on. Rehearsal bell, Bill. Okay, Joss.
When you're casting a part like Sarah, which is the part in the film, you hope someone walks in the door and is the right person. And when Jenny walked in, she was the right person. And it was one of those great little moments. She did a wonderful reading, and she's a bright, intelligent actress who takes direction well, and everything was just right.
Oh.
Hello.
Did you say hello?
No, I said hello, but that's close enough.
You don't by any chance know the way through this labyrinth, do you?
Oh, me? No, I'm just a worm.
I have to solve this labyrinth. But there aren't any turns or any openings or anything. It just goes on and on and...
Well, you ain't looking right. It's full of openings. It's just you ain't seeing them.
Well, where are they?
There's one just across there. It's right in front of you.
No, there isn't. There isn't an opening.
Of course there is. You try walking through it. You'll see what I mean.
What?
Things are not always what they seem in this place. So you can't take anything for granted.
Hey!
It hasn't been one of my aspirations to be an actress. I sort of wanted to be a vet, or I wanted to be a carpenter or something. I didn't know what I wanted to be, but I never thought of being in films. So I just really started with modeling because friends of my parents asked me if I wanted to. Then I started doing commercials. Then I went on a film audition, which was for Once Upon a Time in America. I think it was my first one, actually. I don't know, it just sort of happened.
It comes down slowly into your hand, and the moment it's coming down. I found I could talk very straight to her. We'd talk about her performance. I didn't have to tiptoe around her feelings or anything like that. She could talk, just as an adult.
Apart from being quite beautiful, she's a really good actress. And And she's a pleasure to work with. One forgets that she's just 14 years old, and she's really very mature. And it's a big strain, a film like this. And every day without fail, she was on form. And she's absolutely terrific.
As the band sweeps through, makes no sense for you. Every thrill is gone.
Here's a picture that we've been working on and building the characters for about a year and a half before we begin shooting. But everything all comes together in the last couple of weeks. And then, even if you have the characters together, puppeteers start working with them. They find problems, or they try to figure out what they're going to do with these characters. So there's a great deal of sort of last-minute adjusting, figuring out what it's all going to be before you start to shoot it.
Get used to this.
Then you can take your act on the road.
A little bit looser. Let's see the feet too, I think. Oop, one foot is backwards. All right. And okay. Good. Hey, Rob.
In fact,
As you come down, we're getting too much of a head-on shot.
The sun goes down. The bats are back. The brothers come. The brothers come round. On my dirty back.
One bunch of characters that Sarah meets in the Labyrinth is called the Fire Gang. When we first came up with them, we didn't know how they were going to move.
These came straight out of a drawing of Brian's. It was these characters going like this, ah, woo, ah, and they were obviously sort of very wild things, you know. And I kind of just imagined they came in at one point when she was really lost, and they came up with really helpful things, you know, but you're not quite sure how wild they're going to get. And then they sing this song saying, lift your feet, lift your head. And I thought, ooh, it'd be a good idea if they lifted their heads up off their shoulders as they sang that. So then they went on singing a bit more. The more they got into their song, they always ended up saying, there ain't nobody as wild as me. And which this one would lift his head up and sort of roll it down his shoulders and start tossing it around and playing it like a basketball and lobbing it around.
That was part of the original problem of how to do that, creating this whole thing that would come apart and be put together in different ways.
Back, and then he pulls forward, and then we go back.
When we first came up with these characters, we didn't really know how they would move. We had to put a series of puppeteers working with them just to figure out how they would move, what they were capable of. We tried manipulating them in different ways, attaching the feet to the puppeteer's feet, working the feet with rods, and we found each way of operating them would create different kinds of movement.
The clap might be a problem.
A lot of the decision was how were they supposed to move? And what we ended up with, of course, was a great combination. And so the rehearsals were quite useful because they discovered a lot of different configurations and movements. Oh, yeah, we'll redistribute them. Obviously, to shoot the Fire Gang, we have to hide the puppeteers. So we had them all wearing black velvet. Now, velvet is probably the blackest fabric that you can use, and so that's what they had to wear. The set itself had to also be covered with black, and we had to get rid of anything reflective, any little white dots or anything like that would show up. We shot the puppets first with a computerized camera, and then we removed the black velvet and shot the background using the computer to make the camera move at exactly the same speed and so forth. And all of these elements were put together later in the laboratory.
Moschen is dragging on the ground. And even down looks up. Down looks up. Bad luck. We can show you a good time. Show you a good time.
The thing about puppets is they're really kind of liberating things. You can have extraordinary creatures doing anything you like. For example, I remember the first time I saw The Empire Strikes Back and I saw the Yoda. I thought, what on earth is that? It must be a little man because he's wiggling his ears and his eyes move and everything. I came out of the cinema thinking, how on earth did they do that? Couldn't believe it was a puppet.
Well, Hoggle is certainly the most complicated puppet creature we've ever built. It's the most technically elaborate face because we've put about 18 motors in there to control all the different portions of the face with these 18 motors and 4 people operating that from outside by radio control. It creates enormous problems in just trying to figure out how to make that into one expression.
The Hoggle crew are 5 performers, one of which is really an actress, Shari. She's inside the costume. She does all the body movement, and her head is inside the head. However, the jaw is not connected to her jaw. Nothing that the face is doing has any connection with what she's doing with her face. The other 4 members of the crew are all radio crew, myself included.
A head doesn't just speak, it moves while it speaks. And the body has to have the right attitude, the right breathing, and the right, stance, body position, and stuff like that. So it was very important to really act Hoggle out and know what transitions were going on, just as much as the people doing the head.
You monster! They breed as fast as I can spray.
5 performers trying to get one character out of one puppet. It's a very tough thing.
That makes it worse! That makes it
Basically, what it takes is a lot of rehearsing and getting to know each other's timing, so that when I go here, something like that, the eyes go here, and Shari goes here, and everybody does it at the same time, and they all know that it's going to come, and they know exactly what it's going to sound like and all that. That took a lot of rehearsal.
Ain't it? Now, would you go left or right?
We both stayed open too long.
It's Hoggle! And don't
Because he was the most complicated character, we were trying to do more with him, and he had to be virtually the second lead in the film. His hands were always a problem because Shari has very small hands, and we had to build these sort of large hands over her.
Vera, do we have the little hanky?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Wonderful. Let's see what you can do. Can you get that? Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? Almost.
How long is this movie going to be?
Okay, now here we go. 2 of them, huh? Oh, all right. Great.
Tell you what, you give me the bracelet, and I'll show you the way out of the labyrinth.
You were gonna do that anyway.
Yes, well, that's what would make it a particularly nice gesture on your part.
No. I'll tell you what. If you won't take me to the center, take me as far as you can, and then I'll do it on my own.
What is that, anyway?
Plastic?
Sure. Now, don't promise nothing, but, I'll take you as far as I can. Then you're on your own, right?
Right.
Right. Whoa, plastic.
I can't bring myself to call them puppets because I don't feel what Jim Henson does is puppetry. I mean, I don't know there's no name for it. It's just sort of some other kind of magic, really. But I suppose we're going to call it puppetry, so I'll call it puppets then. I mean, Jim's things, they're just so, they can do anything.
For a graphic artist, creating a 2-dimensional optical illusion is difficult enough, but creating an optical illusion in 3 dimensions was a real challenge for our production designer, Elliot Scott. Scotty designed it so there's nothing that tells you what's up or down, and everything intercuts. In other words, it's all lit so that there's no giveaway as to what's top and what's bottom. And this means that you can never orient yourself to what you're looking at.
It'd be nice if you could wait a little bit longer, because I'd love the picture clear. You know, the middle point of my cut should be on things.
Here we go. 5
5:20, take 4.
Play that.
Oh, you turn my world, you precious thing. You starve and near exhaustion. Everything.
It's a nice one. Let me do one just a touch slower on the...
One more time.
Okay. All right, let's take a moment to put on the zoom and do...
Stay there.
We very carefully storyboarded this whole sequence and followed it closer than we ever did anywhere else in the film, because there were sequences in here where we wanted David to do things which you couldn't really do, but by the addition of a mechanical effect, we could actually make it look like David was actually doing all of this stuff. And this worked because we were able to turn the camera in different angles, because the set would allow us to do that.
Play that.
Ready? And action.
How you turn my world, you precious thing. You starve and near exhaustion. Everything I've done for you. I move the stars for no one. You've run so long, you've run so far. Your eyes can be so cruel.
Cut. Good.
I've known Michael Moschen's work for several years, and he does this incredible act, and what he does is as close to real magic as anything that I really know. We had this design for what Jareth was, and we wanted him to have certain kind of magical powers and something to express these magic powers, and so then we thought of the idea of using Michael to do that.
I've brought you a gift.
What is it?
It's a crystal. Nothing more.
Got it?
For the occasions, we wanted to use Michael's right arm to be David's arm. We set it up with a stand-in for David, so he could rehearse and rehearse and rehearse and try to get this move. We had to have Michael down behind David, and he had to be leaning down so that he wouldn't be in the camera shot. He's now working totally blind.
372, take 6.
When we shot that scene with David, he was incredibly patient.
Action.
Wait! I have a better plan.
Keep going. Ready? And action.
Wait! I've got a much better plan.
I don't know how many takes we did, but it was lots and lots.
Wait! I have a much better plan. I had fun. It was very amusing. I don't think Michael Moschen, the juggler, had much fun. It was agonizing for him.
Excuse me.
Wait! I've got a much better plan, Hoggle. Give her this.
What is it?
It's a present.
It ain't gonna hurt the little lady, is it?
Oh, now why the concern?
I won't do nothing to harm her.
Oh, come, Hogbrain. I'm surprised at you losing your head over a girl.
I ain't lost my head.
You don't think a young girl could ever like a repulsive little scab like you, do you?
Well, she said we
What? Bosom companions? Friends?
Don't matter.
You'll give her that, Hoggle, or I'll tip you straight into the bog of eternal stench before you can blink.
Yes, right.
The whole trip through the labyrinth is like a voyage. And so to create the feeling of a voyage, you have to go through many different places. I think the film does have a lot of different looks, and that's due to the combination of Elliot Scott's set designs and Alex Thompson's lighting.
Can you line up the bulbs? Just straighten up the bulbs. They're all over the place. Just gonna do this thing now. Thanks, Frank.
That one you can see there, Ash, needs to go well over to the right.
Ash, go and have a look.
First, I'll hear a sleep. Oh, I want Lee to see that.
Okay, that's fine. It's good, Dean.
Put it on.
Go even more.
You ready?
143, take one. ANC cameras.
3, 2, 1, action.
Ludo. Ludo? Ludo? What's going on, Ludo?
I love working with puppets. In the beginning, it was hard because, I don't know, it's just strange thinking about the fact that you really are talking to a puppet. But it completely wears away. And you just, completely forget that they are puppets and that they're not just some kind of creatures or something, which are real. Because they are so real. The puppeteers make them so lifelike. And you can really learn to relate to each one of them.
Ludo is one of the biggest things we've ever made for a single person to operate.
You're gonna have to lead me out there.
It is a very large figure, and we had to make it as lightweight as possible. And that was one of the big problems. About halfway through the build on that, I was beginning to get worried. And I said, how much is this thing going to weigh when it's finished? And they did a lot of calculations, and they came back and they said, well, it looks like it'll be 100 and some pounds.
Piece of cake.
And I said, that's really too much. So they had to just start from the very beginning and just redo everything just to cut the weight down. The final weight is still well over 75 pounds.
Ludo, friend.
Well, I knew it would be too much for one person to operate all the time, and so we designed it for two guys to work interchangeably. Rob Mills and Ron Muick are just about the same size and shape physically, so they were able to trade off in the part. As well as all the physical demands that this character put on them, they also had to give a performance.
Good. Come on. Watch them. Step back. Good. Very good, Shari. Really.
After working on the film Dark Crystal that was just pure puppets, Jim and I decided that we'd like to introduce a human element. We felt that a baby would be an ideal thing to play off against the creatures. I sat down and started to paint this picture. About 6 months later, my son Toby was conceived. And the strange thing was that he turned out to look just like the baby that I'd drawn. And he was the baby that we used in the film.
Hi, Toby. You know who's in the hole?
Toby.
Your mommy.
Toby. Toby. Ow! Toby. Toby, don't look at the light.
Okay. Mike, let's shoot it.
Where are you going? Toby,
Stand by.
Toby, come on. Toby. Toby, come on.
Oh, Toby, come here.
Toby, where are you?
Here.
Oh, boy.
Playback.
Ready?
Toby.
People say that you shouldn't work with babies, puppets, or animals. And of course, we work with puppets all the time. And I have worked with animals a little bit, but this is the very first time I've ever worked with a baby. And so now I understand why people say that.
So this is your big chance. So go for it. All right? Let it first in the eyes and then feel it with everything. But not the pen.
Yeah, I think he, I think he can do that. He believes it.
And project.
It wasn't just a question of getting Toby to look in the right direction, but he also had to have the right expression on his face. And this was not easy.
Okay, and action, Nick. And Carol, why don't you call Toby?
Toby!
Go to Carol.
Okay, Toby.
There he goes now. Wendy, you're on.
Damn.
He's yeah. Okay, it's a complicated thing, Job. And got it?
Working with a baby had its problems, but then I tried directing chickens.
That's where I want them. But I really only want one in the shot. What?
Have you got that chicken?
Colin doesn't want it going down his back in the middle of the shot. Leave me a nice scrawny one. This is a great one who's left here. Ooh, chick. Okay. Just let this guy quiet down, if you will. Okay. That chicken is not going to be a star. In 3, 2, 1, action.
Hold it, Bob.
When we were planning the film and even casting it, it hadn't occurred to me that the film had any dangerous situations, because everything is fairly normal. And it wasn't until we were actually shooting that I realized that there were scenes that were both difficult and uncomfortable and not exactly dangerous, but slightly risky, or they would feel dangerous. It wasn't until Jenny was doing these things that I realized how terrific she was. She's such a good sport about all of this stuff, and she's very brave.
The shaft of hands, it's a slimy green substance, and it has these hands sticking out from all over the place. I mean, tons and tons and tons of them. And it's really high. It's about 40 feet or something.
1, drop.
I suddenly had this idea of, ooh, all these hands just sort of coming out from the thing, they all grab her. I thought, it sounds pretty spooky. And then I thought it would be very nice if the hands started talking to her. I remember seeing people doing those things where they paint lipstick on their hand like that, and then 2 eyes, and then and so I thought one of the hands gets some lipstick and does that, and it starts talking to her. And then I think Jim liked the idea of the shaft of hands, and he suggested that the hands actually should just form faces.
Probably can be done, but gee, it's hard.
And actually, one person doing both sides doesn't work because you get the wrong side.
Yeah, they're on the wrong side, and they're shadowed by your fingers.
That's
so,
what I mean. They're
yeah.
on the wrong, they're facing the wrong way.
Do the mouth like this with me.
You're not moving a little.
If I'm leading. It's not terrible. It certainly can be done, I think, at some point. All the puppeteers had to wear latex gloves, designed to look like gnarled, arthritic hands. We ended up making over 100 pairs, and the foam latex people were working day and night to get them all ready on time.
it's like that, the eyes are done by two people. See, I'm the eye on this side, you see. Yes, okay, so there's an eye, there's a pair of eyes there, you know.
Does this come with live focus or?
To me, the easiest mouth is one person in front doing like that. You know, that's a very easy mouth. And, yeah. Now that I would particularly like with another fist in there to create a nose, you know? Yeah.
like so?
Right. Those of you who haven't seen any of these faces before, Brian, Mac, Ron, Cheryl, some of you all have tried this already, so just show some of the faces and the way bodies orient.
Which one was the smiling?
Oh, that was that one.
Oh, yes. Yes, which way? Come on. Which way would you like to go?
Oh, gosh. When you've had an idea, which is always a pretty good idea, and then you see it done, and it's so much better than you ever imagined. It's sort of taken your original idea and sort of leapt a quantum leap. It was one of those magic moments, I think, when I actually saw it.
Stop it! Help!
What do you mean, help? We are helping.
We're helping hands. Well then, come on, which way?
Come on.
We haven't got all day.
Well, it's a big decision for them.
Which way do you want to go?
Well, since I'm pointed that way, I guess I'll go down.
She chose down. She chose down.
Was that wrong?
Too late now.
Well, the ballroom scene is Sarah's fantasy, and so I wanted it to have sort of a dream, trance-like quality. And that's what I asked Cheryl McFadden to convey in the choreography.
So what has to happen is, Douglas, that you can't leave until Graham, you see him getting closer, yeah. It was probably the most free time for me in terms of just exploring my own ideas and working with people and trying to come up with a style for that sequence.
This is just about the only crowd scene in the movie where there are only people. There are no puppets there. So it was pretty straightforward to shoot, and we all had a lot of fun doing it.
Take it very slowly. Give him a little bit more room.
I'm awful at ballroom dancing. I've never done it before. I've never been to a ball. So I had to take lessons for that. I felt so strange because the rest of the people in the ballroom were all sort of professional dancers and everything, and here I was, this kid who's never danced before in her life.
The ballroom really was meant to be within a bubble, and we felt we really couldn't cope with just inside a bubble, because how do you build the inside of a bubble, as it were, practically? We've got to be practical after all. So rather than build a straightforward ballroom, I tried to put together the essences of a ballroom. That's to say, a ballroom to me means columns, and so we didn't have columns, we had huge caps. It means chandeliers, so we devised masses of chandeliers, and there was mirrors, so you saw mirrors and reflections of mirrors in mirrors and things like that. And the general costumes, which Brian Froud had designed, were, I would say, vaguely 18th century Venetian ball type things with distorted masks and things like that. And the people in the ballroom were meant to be vaguely depraved, as it were.
I found designing costumes for a bubble an interesting problem. And I decided that a bubble was actually like a marquee or a tent, that everybody was in fact at some sort of garden party, that they were the gentry dressing up, and they were playing at being goblins. And I tried to reflect that in the masks I designed. Although they have this Venetian influence, they're actually supposed to be parodies of the goblins themselves. I wanted everything much larger than life, as it was a fantasy.
Turn over. Speed. And playback.
We were trying to create a kind of an adult world. You know, the cast are real people here. Sarah is still a child, and she's walking into a very adult situation where she knows she's too young to be there. It's something that's attractive to her, and it's also repellent.
Deep in your eyes, a kind of pale juice, open and closed within your eyes. I'll place the sky within your eyes. There's such a fool heart beating so fast in search of new dreams. A love that will last within your heart. I'll place the moon within your heart. As the pain sweeps through, makes no sense for you. Every feel has gone, wasn't too much fun at all. But I'll be there for you as the world falls down.
I loved shooting it myself. It was a fun kind of thing to try to weave together.
I think we got it.
It seemed like right late in the story, what we wanted was for our heroes to come up against some huge obstacle, something worse than anything they'd encountered so far. And we came up with the idea of building the largest puppet we'd ever built.
Jim asked us about last January, he said, boys, I'd like a 15-foot high giant. So he thought, oh yeah, very interesting. Lots of people have tried to make 15-foot giants that walk and throw their arms around, haven't been very successful, so it's a challenge, you know. So we decided how we were going to make it, and we went ahead and we made all the mechanics, and everything worked wonderfully. When the body was produced in fiberglass, it just wouldn't work because the fiberglass wouldn't flex. Fortunately for us, we had our foam expert, David Chikori, and he developed a polyurethane foam for us with a skin, and the skin would flex without looking rubbery. It made the polyurethane foam look like steel armor.
He weighs, I don't know how much, lots. With all of the rig and all the hydraulics, the thing has to be several tons. And so this was the largest, most complicated thing we'd ever built. He didn't have very long to build it, probably 2 to 3 months.
One man could operate the whole thing. In the old days, we'd have probably had 5 or 6 guys all at different levers, working hydraulics. So one man operates the whole of Humongous all by himself. He makes it walk forward, makes its body spin round, makes it bow down, and makes its arms swing the axe. And that's all done with servo hydraulics. Every movement his arm makes, the arms on Humongous make exactly the same movement.
When George first showed me Humongous in action, it was really an amazing thing. To just stand there and have this large thing walk towards you is one of the most awesome sights in the world.
On the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Company halt. 1, 2. Ready for the rope drop. And drop. Ready for the attack. And 1, 2, 3, and shoot.
A film like this sort of needs a major climax. And one of the best major climaxes is a battle scene. So we wanted to do a great battle scene. And at the same time, we didn't want to end up killing a lot of people. We didn't want a big gory battle where people got, their heads chopped off and things like that. So we were looking for how can we have the fun of a battle and make it fun without, being terribly violent and being the kind of film that we didn't want to make. So we decided to do a silly battle.
Yeah. So not everything goes this way.
Okay, so red light. Stand by. Speed.
And 3, 2, 1, action.
Taking fire! Ambrosius, turn around! Ambrosius, turn about!
Quick, this way!
All right, charge! Ambrosius, you're going the wrong way! Ambrosius, if you don't turn around this second, I will never feed you again. That's better. Don't worry, Ambrosius. I think we've got them surrounded.
Right, let's clear the set then, unless you're a goblin with a rock attached to you.
Albert?
We're going to try rehearsal in the right-hand lane first. This lane I'm pointing to. And 3, 2, 1, action!
Steady, men! Steady, men! Hold your ground! Okay, I take it back! Run for your lives!
Come around. All right, it's all yours. All right. Forward. Stop. 180 degrees. Which way? Any way. No.
How's it going?
Now you don't! Hey, no problem.
When I go see a film, when I leave the theater, I like a few things. I like to be happier than I was when I went in. I like a film to leave me with an up feeling. And I like a picture to have a sense of substance. I like it to be about life, about things that matter to me. And so I think that's what we were trying to do with this film, is trying to do a film that would make a difference to you if you saw it.
No one can blame you for walking away, but too much rejection, no love injection. Life can't be easy It's not always swell. Don't tell me truth hurts, little girl, 'cause it hurts like hell, hurts like hell. But down in the underground, you'll find someone true. Down in the underground, a land serene, a crystal moon. It's only forever, not long at all. Lost in